Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 21. Just as promised, today we will work hard toward the advanced miners. They will be instrumental in strip mining our current star system, and the sooner we can get our hands on them the better. But to get there, we need to get over quite a few obstacles. I think I talked about all the different things we need to deal with before, and this is the day when we knuckle down and take care of them. We will need to build a couple temporary production setups, which will become obsolete as soon as we get interstellar logistics, but until then, we are forced to do things the hard way. It will be such an involved process, that we will just about manage to get the first miners by the end of the episode. Before we get started, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, and clicking the like button will let me know that this video was worth making. If you want to help me make a living off this one day, please consider becoming a channel member, where you will get an early access to the videos as I make them, and for a one-time donation, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description. But enough talking, let's get into it. Okay, the first thing we need to deal with is the titanium glass. We already set up the tower for it at the end of the last video, we only need to place down the actual production facilities for it. And since it's a pretty standard 3-ingredient recipe, we can just copy-paste a similar array, and just reset the assemblers when everything's done. Well, there is one thing missing, and that thing is water. We only have that available outside the network. Should be an easy fix, we just need to find a big body of water, and set up a bunch of pumps along the shore to get it. Before we go look for that water, we should quickly craft as many pumps as we can. If we are going to do this, we might as well do it big. Okay, that will be more than enough. Whatever is left over, we can simply use to pump acid in the near future. And I think this little shoreline will be pretty much perfect for this. Now we just need a tower to distribute the water, and we can start placing the belts. I think we will make 10 pumps share a single belt. We will not be able to reach full saturation on them for now, but as we increase the vein utilization tech, the mining speed will also affect the pumps, so there will come a time when having 10 pumps per line will be overkill. That's 30. Let's go for 40, and we can call it good enough for now. That kind of water flow will be perfectly adequate for our current needs, and as I've said, it will only get better as the vein utilization tech gets upgraded. We will only need to revisit this place if those 4 belts are fully saturated, and still can't keep up with the demand. Now, The next thing we need to do are Casimir crystals. They are a simple 3-ingredient recipe, but one of those ingredients is titanium crystals. If you remember our woes with the yellow science, one of the main components we need to make those are organic crystals, and we cannot mine those yet, they are only available in other star systems. So, in order to get them in the amounts we need to keep progressing, we will need to set up a temporary production setup for them, which will instantly become obsolete as soon as we get interstellar logistics going. By the way, did you see how easy it was to fill in that big ocean? I just love how we can get massive amounts of soil from the dark fog now. It makes terraforming a bazillion times easier. Okay, this tower would be best off with having some drones to bring in the water, and we are out of those. I think as soon as we take care of the green science, the next big project will be the mall. In fact, it will have to be. The old starter base is still in the way of the tower ring, and it's only there to keep the old mall going. If we had one on the network, that would not only make our lives easier, but also allow us to fully get rid of the starter base. At this point, we have nothing in the main tech tree that we could go for. All remaining nodes require green cubes. We can just use the upgrades to keep the labs busy until then. Ooh, maybe we should focus on the logistics upgrades. I wouldn't mind having some faster and more spacious drones and vessels to play with. It seems the amount of plastics we get is quite pitiful. Before we go any further, we should extend the number of labs making that stuff, so things can keep up with each other. Well, the fusion reactors are blocking the array, but we did manage to more than double the production, so I'm not all that bothered about it. With that done, we can get back to the organic crystals. Since we have the room, we might as well make the array have 4 columns of labs. Okay, that should be enough organic crystal production to keep us going until we can start mining them. You know what, since this is a temporary setup, we might as well do the titanium crystals here too. Once we have those interstellar mining outposts, we will do a proper one on the ring, but this will do for now. Oh, right. We might want to give the organic crystals a way to get out of the labs. They aren't much use to us being stuck in there. Also, I mixed up the way the middle belt needs to go. The tower is full, it cannot accept the titanium crystals, so we need a second one just for that. I think that will be enough to tide us over. And now that we have a steady supply of the stuff, we can start working on the Casimir crystals. Now that we have everything we need to make these, setting up the array will be a trivial affair. Oops. I accidentally set the last filter to hydrogen, instead of graphene. Don't worry, I will fix that in a minute. Alright, that takes care of that. The next thing we need are the planar filters. Those are the last thing we need to make the quantum chips. They only require the titanium glass and the Casimir crystals, both of which we now have on the network. Sure, they aren't exactly abundant at the moment, but they should be enough to get the green science going. Oops, wrong tower. I accidentally pasted the array to the strange matter one. Apart from a couple missing inserters, the planar filter array is good to go. Now we just need the actual quantum chips, and we are ready to start doing some green science. But, we will need these in large quantities, so might as well double up on the number of assemblers. It will not be enough in the long run, but it will do for now. It seems the silicon crystal smelting tower is ready for demolition. And just in time, we need the space for the new processor chips. How many times did we go to pick up more assemblers? 3? 4? It's about time we got the new mall sorted. This old one is really starting to show its age at this point. And we have the quantum chips. We are ready to start doing green science. But just for good measure, I did double up the number of assemblers, although we won't be able to use all of them for a while. And with that, we are ready to start setting up the green science outpost. Unfortunately, we have some stuff in the way. Let's see if we can make some room. These mines are completely empty, so we can pick them up. And if we move the tower further away from the eventual construction site, we should have the room we need for the labs. Well, I managed to place the tower a couple steps away from the intended 60 degrees, but the placement is already messy, so I'm not all that bothered. With the tower all sorted, we can start with the labs. As usual, we only need the two components to make the cubes, so we can just mimic the other ones. The reason why I didn't just copy-paste the old ones is because the blueprints start to behave a bit weirdly this close to the poles. Let's just do it by hand, it shouldn't take too long. That graviton lens belt juts a bit too far out from the tower. I will notice it once we start placing the labs. Okay, we can reset the recipes, clone them over to the other side, use our remaining labs to build up the tower stacks, and it's done. Not quite the number of labs we need to keep the ratios going, but it will be enough for now. Anyways, I went back to the ring to check on things, and noticed that the old brick array was also ready to be demolished. We already have quantum chips coming in, but not the lenses. We are using all of them to make the warpers. I think it's overkill right now, we can trim those assemblers back. We will switch over to using the green cubes to make those soon anyways. Well, while we wait for things to sort themselves out with regards to the green cubes, we can do a bit of mining. We are really struggling to meet the need for copper, so we would be well advised to deal with that. Nice. Some of the graviton lenses managed to make their way to the matrix labs, and now we have green cubes being made. This is the last of the basic colors we will need to deal with. After this, in order to keep advancing with our technologies, we will need to make white cubes, which consume all the other colors, as well as a special resource that we can only get our hands on if we have either a Dyson swarm or a sphere. This basically means, we are now in the home stretch. We only need to take care of the last couple missing items, and we can start launching rockets. Technically, we were capable of doing a Dyson swarm for a long time now, but I've been purposefully neglecting to do it. There are two reasons for that. One, is that it's not really necessary. The only real benefit to doing a swarm early on is to get power from it, and apart from that small period just before the fusion reactors, we were pretty much okay on that front throughout the series. The other reason for not building a swarm early was the dark fog. I heard that the central hive gets really angry if it sees us building things around the star, and I wanted to keep them calm as much as I could. Anyways, with those mines, and the extra drones in the smelting tower, our copper situation should be more or less sorted for the time being. But, I did notice that the titanium setup was struggling a bit, so I decided to give that one another mine before we leave Vulcan. Well, let's hope these are the last ever basic miners we will ever place. We are really close to making the advanced ones. Next up, after so many attacks, I think it's time to place the babs we have in our inventory. I don't like seeing so many damaged buildings. As far as I know, the towers themselves will draw the attention of the attacking forces, and the other buildings will be left alone, including the babs. So even if the tower gets damaged, it will get repaired pretty much instantly. Look at that traffic. I really love how things get more and more lively as we build things up. The old processor assemblers are having a hard time keeping up with the demand. And it's not because of the copper shortage. We have plenty of that in the component factory next door. It's purely down to the production capacity, so I think it's time to expand it. We have over 500 green cubes ready to go at this point. We only need 600 to finish up the advanced miner research, so we are pretty much ready to get it started. Okay. It's only a matter of time now. While the labs chip away at the research, we might as well set up the production facility that will make those miners for us. And they are quite expensive. 20 titanium alloys, 10 frame materials, 10 supermagnetic rings, 4 quantum chips, and a whopping 40 grading crystals. These miners don't come cheap, but they are well worth the investment. Okay. I don't think I need to say it, but yeah, this is definitely a temporary thing. Once we start building that mall I talked about, this one will be one of the items included in it. We only need it to make them until then. And we don't have everything on the logistics network either, so we will have to hand feed some of the materials until we do. Managed to put in 1200 grading crystals. That's just enough to make 30 miners for us. I don't think it will be enough to fully strip mine the star system, but it's a start. And with the addition of the frame materials, we are ready to start making them. We are well over the time limit at this point, but there was no way I finish recording before we have one of these actively mining something for us. They sure take a long time to make. Can't wait to start using the Mark III assemblers, those are a lot faster than these basic ones. Anyways, we are now the proud owners of a couple advanced miners. Time to put them to work. I decided to start with the local copper mines. The sooner we start peeling back all those leftover belts, the sooner we can start expanding the tower ring. And there it is. Our first ever advanced miner. It has a much bigger area it can cover, and it can also be supercharged. If we give it more power, it will mine faster. And the best thing is that they can accept logistics drones, meaning we no longer need to worry about belts. We can just place down a handful of towers to gather up the mined resources, and then distribute them as we see fit, all without using a single belt. Technically, using belts does give a better throughput right now, but only until we can upgrade the logistics enough to take over. And with that, we can pick up a lot of belts that used to carry those copper ores. As we make more and more miners, we will be able to start cleaning up the area, until we have a nice clean canvas to work with. And this is pretty much it for today. We are way over time, but as I've said, there was no way I would cut things short when we were this close to achieving our goal. In the next episode, we have two things we will need to accomplish. One is the utilization of our new miners. We would be well advised to start placing as many of them as we can, and start strip mining the star system. And the second thing is the mall. I will need to work on a decent enough setup for it. I'm not exactly the best at making them. In my old games, I just placed down a grid of towers, used them to bring in the components to make the different buildings, and built a messy assembler spaghetti under them. Now that I have an audience, I might want to make it a bit more organized than that. We have so many things to deal with, it might be a bit of a challenge. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, and clicking the like button will also help letting me know that the video was worth making. If you would like to help me make a living off this one day, please consider becoming a channel member, where you will get an early access to the videos as I make them. And if you want to give a one-time donation, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description. Thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next one.